yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Born and dead, saved by love, count my blessings from above. Though in darkness, have no fear. Light will shine on those holding near. They know that sorrow they will pass. For I know in this life there will be something. But remember that love, yes it will. Love will reign. Yeah. Love will reign. Yeah. In my heart, I believe it. Love will reign. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Have a vision. It's clear and plain. People living life, smiling again. Oh, see the children. They know no pain. Far from pressure, stress and strain. Oh, sorrow, they will pass. For I know in this life there's gonna be some pain. But remember that love, yes it will. I know. Yeah. Love will reign. Gotta believe it. In my heart, I truly believe. Sun will shine again, and love, I can hardly wait. We'll all be together. There'll be peace, peace, sweet peace, happiness and joy forever. Oh, yeah. One day, someday, hate will be over and love will reign. They won't last, for I know in this life there's gonna be some pain. But in the end, love will reign. Yeah. Love will reign. Said it in His word. Weeping may endure the night. Love will conquer all. Love will win the fight. So don't be discouraged. Don't be dismayed. The darkest hour just before the day. Hate will be crushed, fear will be gone, love will remain and go on and on. Though the road seems rough, my friend, we know how to turn it. Oh, yeah. Love will reign. Love will reign. Oh, oh.
All right, I see that I am on screen, but it looks like there is some challenge online. So I wanted to make sure that it looks like I'm frozen, and I just want to make sure that things are working. I see that I am on screen, but it looks like there is some challenge online. So I wanted to make sure I am. Yeah, I think you can see me. Okay. I don't know what exactly is happening here, so I'm going to try to work. There we go. Okay. I think I can see it, and maybe I'm moving on screen. Okay, it looks like I'm frozen as I'm watching it live. Okay. Well, good evening. Oh, it's moving. All right. Good evening and welcome wherever you are around the world, I want to say. I am live, Marcus Holmes, and here on the first day of Amazon Prime Day. So I wanted to come on during these Prime Days, but I also wanted to come on at our regular time, around our regular time at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So for those of you that are joining me live on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitch TV, on YouTube events. Looks like the little bit of challenge there on Instagram. Don't see it rolling, but we'll check on it. On TikTok, which we haven't been with our friends on TikTok for a while. Thank you so much. YouTube, LinkedIn, and I thought we were going to be on Amazon Live, but it looks like we're having some difficulties on Amazon. So I may have to double back to Amazon because I do want to talk a little bit about the gratefulness journey every day as one of the things that I hope that you will put in if you are shopping Amazon, that you will put in your Amazon Prime cart. And we'll talk about that in one moment. I just want to check across platforms to make sure that we're everywhere. And so while I do that, I just have MJ from Shahs of Sunset tell you a little bit about um, the gratefulness journey every day.
Marcus, I want to congratulate you on Love and Stuff. I really want you to know that staying grateful and understanding the power of what it is to be operating out of a space of abundance and gratitude is the most important part of every journey of every day. So, Marcus June, congratulations on this book. It's on Amazon now. That makes me so proud of you and your family and me and my family, and every single person around us gets it. So good on you for bringing it into the hands and the laps and the Kindles of all the people. Okay, so we're going to check it out. Can't wait to learn more.
I'm so grateful for um, MJ from Shahs of Sunset helping us to share. That's what happened. I see. Helping us to share the message of gratefulness. Her husband, as if you follow the Shahs of Sunset, you learn that her husband had some temperament issues. And one of the solutions that he chose was gratefulness, the practice of gratefulness. And so I know it's a powerful practice. And let me go back and tell you just a little bit of how I moved into this practice of gratefulness and how I believe it is helping to continually. I think transformation is continual, but it has been a tool in my suite of tools, if you will, that helps to transform my life space and transform others. So if you are going through a grief space, if you've been divorced, which is a kind of grief, if you've walked through the loss of a loved one or the loss of a relationship, even if it wasn't a covenant relationship, I want to share with you this practice of gratefulness that has helped me tremendously. I'm a human resources professional, I guess by trade, I will call it. And several years ago, I was struggling, really struggling, during the time that my mother, my blessed mother, blessed saint, who is now resting on the other side, Princess Holmes, during a time when she was coming to the end of life, I was struggling, um, struggling to walk in that space of transition, struggling to let go, struggling to hold on, struggling to find normalcy in a life that had become so abnormal. It had become so abnormal. Okay. When I say abnormal, I will say there were just about 9 or 10 years where there was the transition of someone very important to me almost every year. And in the first year, 2005, there were two transitions that happened specifically. There were other transitions that happened in that year, but two specifically, two of my siblings. And those that know me know this story, so I beg your indulgence. But in January of 2005, my beloved sister Vanessa, my eldest sibling, suddenly made her transition. And I write in the book how that transition impacted me because her life was so impactful to mine. I think I learned my best lessons on graciousness from Vanessa. She was an amazing, anointed woman of faith, of love, of God. And I found that there were very few people that disliked her, only those that disliked her because everybody else liked her. That was most of what I found of her life. She was liked by everybody. She greeted everybody with warmth and sunshine and a smile, but she was also sage in that this discernment that I believe hovers over our family was evident in her life. She knew if you were real or not, but she treated you with kindness regardless. And I can remember calling her and her telling me, rewrite that email, don't send that email, do this. And so her transition rocked our family. And later that year, on Thanksgiving Day, when my brother did not show up with the macaroni and cheese, we learned that next day that he had transitioned as well, suddenly, not expected. And every year after that, the year after that, another transition. The year after that, one of my best friends in the world transitioned suddenly. Though he had a health challenge, we weren't expecting that transition, right? Even if you think you're expecting it, it is never going to be at a place where you really feel like you expect it, right? Then in 2008, my beloved sister Adrian, who is Autumn's mother, made her transition, only 41 years old. So when your siblings start to transition, you kind of start to think about your own mortality or immortality, if you want to think about it. And while I know that heaven is the reward, it is not what I envisioned, right? Of what my adult life would be now that I'm the kid brother, I'm the baby brother. Now that I'm an adult and walking in that adult hood more freely, where they're beginning to see me as a possible friend and not just their kid brother, I didn't get to have that space and time in the way in which I thought I would with my brothers and sisters who always regarded me as their little brother or kid brother. So by 2008, I had lost three siblings of the four that I have. Okay. And my mother had lost three children of the five that she had. And sometimes I would tease her and say, the good ones left and you left with me and my brother. And so in 2012, as she started to experience more loss, and me too, but she experienced more loss, um, I came upon this informal gratefulness journey. I jumped ahead a little bit. I often tell the story this way that on Father's Day in 2008, my sister Adrienne made her transition Sunday morning, Father's Day. And I remember calling my dad at home and letting him know. And I remember him saying, well, she's in a better place than we are. But from that day until May 20th of 2009, which was not a full year later, I saw the light. My dad's eyes had turned blue. And I saw that light leave his eyes. He had a special love for his daughters, as fathers often do. And he didn't live to see another Father's Day. So I'm coming to 2012 because my mother had two of her sisters that she just always wanted to go and check on them. She checked on her other sisters, but it was something about she would get this thought about having to check on her sisters, and they made their transition. So we come to 2012 to Thanksgiving, and it's Thanksgiving Day, Thanksgiving Eve. And my mother is in her bedroom, and she is probably watching Jeopardy or something like that. Steve Harvey, she loved him too, and Family Feud, she loved Richard Dawson too. And I could hear her almost at a yell. My mother wasn't a yell, except she would yell upstairs to the downstairs. By this time, I was returned to caregive for her. And I heard her calling. And so I ran upstairs and said, yes, what's wrong? And she says, I don't smell anything. I said, well, no, I'm not cooking. I've decided that I will go to Uptown Barbecue and get me, you, and Autumn a dinner. And we'll just have dinner. And she said, come here. And she waved me to her, and I came. And she grabbed my hand. And she said, you have the right, you can reserve the right to grieve for however long and however deeply you want to grieve. That's your right. But baby, you must also reserve the right to be thankful for and grateful for and take inventory of everything that you have left. I've said that about 1,000 times, and the hairs still stand on the back of my neck when I say it, because here's a woman who had buried 3 of her 5 children, her husband, 2 of her close sisters, and she is telling me to be thankful for and take inventory of what I have left. That was the start of the gratefulness journey. That was the start of learning about being grateful even in the midst of what some might consider harrowing circumstances. I share that with you because I know that grief can manifest and take us on different journeys at different times and different seasons. And that you, like me, may have been in a seat where you didn't want to celebrate, because Thanksgiving for us was all about family, all about all the voices and all the jokes and all of the dozens and all of the memories. You too may be at a place where you say, I've lost so much, I don't know what's there to celebrate. But even if you've experienced the deficit, the absence, the void of something or someone that you've loved, I challenge you to take inventory of what you have left. It's not an easy journey, but it's a powerfully transformative journey, and I invite you on it. So fast forward to where I started. as a human resources professional, I got an opportunity to attend a conference called Work Human. And there I met a gentleman who is a former monk who is a mindfulness guru. So I took a mindfulness class. And if you go to the Love and Stuff page, you'll see a video where I was in Arizona in 100-degree weather, sitting at a fire pit and practicing mindfulness. That practice of mindfulness came back full circle to this concept that my mother unlocked in me, this concept of being grateful. And so gratefulness is really being mindful in the moment. It's the awe-inspiring, in the moment grateful. Where gratitude is more aspirational. It's a place that you want to get to. It's a state of being, right? But before you get to a state of being, you have to start being moment by moment. And that's where this whole thought of gratefulness came from. The Brother David is the guru of grateful living. I invite you to go to the Grateful Living site. And I've gleaned so much from his work and from the work of Pandit. I could not talk about gratefulness without the debt of thanks I owe to them for their direction as it relates to this path of gratefulness. Now, gratefulness, for those of us that are people of faith, is a part almost of your DNA, because you have so much to be thankful to God for, right? So much to be grateful to him for giving you life, health, and strength. And walking this path, as I've walked it, it's not always an easy path. And that's why this practice of gratefulness is important to do as you're walking the path, as you're walking with God, as you're walking alone. I hope you're walking with God. But this gratefulness path is at every moment, moment by moment, day by day, of deciding that with whatever is occurring in life, you get to choose what you take inventory of. Now, it doesn't mean that there isn't other things stocked on your shelf. It doesn't even mean that you don't have to deal or address those things. But when you take inventory of the things that you have and have left, it shapes how you deal with what you need to deal with. It shapes your perspective. It transforms you, and sometimes empowers you to transform your situation. That's why I say it's transformative, because your mindset could be, for an instance, I was talking with someone in the inbox about one of the inbox topics that are soon to come up on Love and Stuff. And she was talking about how horrible her divorce was. She felt like she would die, is how she described it. That divorce was like death for her. And I asked her this question: if she could call out any of the things that happened in that relationship that were good. It took her a minute and a few choice words. What do you mean? He did this to me. He did this to me. He did this to our children. He did this. He did this. He broke this. He did this. She spit out those things that were negative, almost without thinking them. And I tried my best to empathize with it and said, oh my goodness, that sounds horrible. Wow, you survived all of that? She said, yeah, and I'm still standing. I said, well, let's start there. You're still standing. You squared your shoulders back a little bit. You're still standing. Are you grateful to be still standing? Of course. I'm here. My kids are well. They made it. They're sane. We've been through therapy. I said, so you have a starting point to be grateful. Tell me what that feels like when you think about I'm a survivor. I'm not going to give up, I'm not going to stop. I'm a survivor. What does that feel like? So she began to express it. She felt empowered. She felt free. She began to describe some of the things that she felt. And I tried to get her to, describe some of the emotions. And I said, this is wonderful. You have tapped into a place of gratefulness. I said, can you tell me the last time that you felt such joy? And as I began to watch her on the video camera, we were talking virtually, and tears started to stream from her eyes. She said, there was a time when I knew my husband loved me and he would bring me flowers all the time. I said, what kind of flowers? And through sobs and tears, she began to share with me her favorite flower, how he knew it, how he found them, where he found them. And I asked her, can you be grateful for that experience that you had before all of this negative experience that you had? She thought about it and said, I guess I can. He wasn't always. She had enumerated what he was now, but she said he wasn't always that. I said, I hope for you a place that you transform that past place into your present life so that you can give yourself permission to be okay that while that is never occurring again for you and him, it was once good and something for which you can be grateful. She started making notes, and I appreciated that. And what I hope that does for her, and I hope it might do for you, is it gives you a place that you can go to retrieve the thoughts, the memories, the sensations, the emotions associated with all that God has allowed you to experience that was good, even if it ended up being bad. I talk in the book that you can look at things that happen or that you're involved in as a lesson, a failure, a gain, or blessing. And all of those can be good things. All of those have good in them. Failure has good in it. Failure often is a pathway to good lessons and often some blessings. And if you move and navigate in your life in a way that you're looking for the lesson, you're looking for the blessing, you're not afraid to fail fast or often, you're looking to be able to gain, you begin this journey of inventory of gratefulness. It's a part of that gratefulness consideration that even in the things that seem to be bad or feel bad or are bad, inside of them are some things worth being grateful for. Doesn't mean that you've experienced something that was harrowing, traumatic, that it wasn't harrowing, that it wasn't traumatic. I'm not saying that it wasn't. It absolutely could have been and was. But somewhere in it, somewhere associated to it, is some goodness that you can draw from it to help get that lesson, blessing, failure, gain, and be grateful for it. So learning a lot of that from the mindfulness class that I took, courses that I took during that practicum, that session. One of the things is to sit in your present circumstances. I say lie or lay in the providence of God, because whether you're going through a storm, a foreclosure, a divorce, a layoff, betrayal, God's providence still envelops you. And if every morning you could just lay in that for a minute, there is some science about laying in the sun, getting to the sun, opening the curtain so that sun can come in, to set your circadian rhythm, right? If you could just lay there in the providence of God, knowing that God's got you and he created you to just be. Before you brush your teeth, before you check your notifications, before you do anything, just be. Be. Sit in how you feel in the moment and be. Not, oh, I got to get the kids breakfast. I got to get my husband going. I got to do. No, just be. And sit in that reality that God's providence, God's wake up list had your name on it. You know, seasoned saints would say, touch you with the finger of love. That you're laying in this moment to just be. You're just being. Okay? And feel what you feel in that moment. Whatever it is you feel. Grateful, sad, happy, curious. Whatever set of emotions way roll over you, just be. And after you've had 5 minutes of being, sometimes you'll drift into 17. After you've done that, then be grateful. And being grateful in this practice is thinking about 3 things for which you are grateful, saying them aloud 3 times. And then when you get on Zoom or Teams, or you get in work, or you go to the coffee shop, share it with 3 people. Now, the powerful way to kick this off, there's some real valuable science around habits. If you are into that, James Clear is one of the habit gurus. He also informed my work. And one of the things that he says that I think is genius that will help you, and this is not just for the practice of gratefulness, it's in general, that if you have a good habit or a bad habit, you will keep doing the good habit and or bad habit as long as it serves you well. There is no habit that you have that does not serve you well, because when it doesn't, you stop doing it. You say, well, wait a minute, there are people who are addicted. That addiction serves them well in some way. That's why they're still doing it. When it no longer serves them well, they will no longer do it. So the goal then in habits is habit stacking. When you're going to start a new habit, like the practice of gratefulness, you start it by stacking it on a good, positive habit. Now, one habit that we have, good or bad, some of us, is the first thing we do when we wake up is we check our notifications on our phone. Without fail, we roll over, or if the phone is in the bed with you, seeing what you missed in the world. Stack this habit right with that. Practice your 3 things you're grateful for in that moment while you're doing that. Most of us brush our teeth, right? You can start your gratefulness practice there. Wherever you have a habit that you do without thinking, it happens every day at the same time, is where you insert a new habit. And if you're trying to get rid of a bad habit, you do the opposite of the bad habit, whatever that is, at the time you have the positive habit happening. You're more likely, if, for instance, you eat junk food in the morning, if you have a good habit, such as you brush your teeth, and then you decide instead of eating that food, you're going to drink water. You start a habit in place of the bad habit. And the more frequent and consistent you are with that habit, the more it drowns out the other habits. Okay? So that's the work of James Clear that informed my work in the gratefulness journey every day, which I'm not live on Amazon. I intended to be. I'm live on LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, I think it looks like Nadine is there, so I am live. I don't know if she can. It's not showing the screen like I thought it would. Um, uh, TikTok tonight. I'm live on TikTok. I said LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, YouTube events, and I didn't get to Amazon, which is what I was trying to do live since it is Prime Days. What I want to tell you about this short read, it's 70 pages, and it also 75 pages. It also, um, there is a link in the book and in the ebook, because you can get the book or the ebook, that will send you a gratefulness journal. If you're a person that likes to journal, comes along with the book. I shared with you the practice, and I just want to share with you the opening. I'm sharing the opening with you, two parts of the opening with you, in the hopes that you will join me on this gratefulness journey. It's 3 things that you're grateful for, saying them aloud 3 times and sharing them with 3 people every day, 30 days. It takes between 30 and 45 days to build a new habit. And again, if you stack it, you're more likely to build that habit if you put it between 2 or put it behind at least 1 good positive habit. I'm reading from the book. I want to just read from the acknowledgement section because I want to share with a little bit about the folks that are in my grateful community, I'm calling it. And I see a number of folks have joined across different platforms. Thank you so much. Carolyn Ann Henderson has joined. Yvonne Tolson, hey there. Lanita Clark, my sister. Lori Wesby, my great sister, who I hope has some sweets here in Detroit. Patricia Kemp and Nalia Payne. I may have said it incorrectly. Tanya Williams, Joanne Jackson Stevens. That name is so familiar to me. Big Al Fat Cat Coney. Thank you, sir. Crystal Nicole, Ursula Merritt Bird. I was just thinking about her earlier. Elena Cross, ma'am, thinking about her. Salam Maha. So all of you that are joined across platform, and I can't see other names. I see Nadine on Instagram. So yes, I do. Thank you so much for joining. But I want to tell you a little bit about them, and then I won't spend much more time except to encourage you to consider making a purchase of the book that I think will further our work and journey in this gratefulness work. It is it's amazing work. I'll say that. So I'm reading from the book, from the acknowledgement part of the book. First, all right, I give thanks to God for being the ultimate source of all gratefulness. And I say thank you, God, for helping me write this book and for giving me nuggets along the way. I will forever praise thy name. For your goodness and your mercy toward me, I offer praise, which is a line from a pretty popular gospel song. I don't know if I have the sufficient words. That's the first acknowledgement. You know, people get up at award shows and many people are thanking God, and we should all, is my thinking, it's my belief. But a lot of people thank God for what he's done. A lot of people thank God for the gifts that he's given them, and I think we all should. But I also seek to thank him with what he's given me. Being bivocational, my music gifts are ways that I can glorify him with those gifts. And I always wanted my writing as well to be a way to point to him as being the ultimate source of all gratefulness. I really don't have sufficient words to thank him for being at this space at this time and being in a reasonable portion of health and strength, and in my mind, I'm not going to say right mind because I'm not so sure he would say your mind is all together, but he's working on me still. But he has been the ultimate source of everything. And I would be remiss if I didn't make sure that that was clear. You know, Love and Stuff is a community that has many different faiths and belief systems, and we respect and acknowledge and honor everyone's right to have a different belief system. And so, because I'm not a licensed preacher, I try not to preach, but I want to be clear that I know that I know that I know that God is the ultimate source of my supply. And through hard trial and tribulation, dark days and lonely nights, he alone carried me through. And I would recommend him to anybody, to everybody. You don't want to be in this life's journey without that intimate connection with him, though he is never far away from you, even if you aren't. What an amazing, mighty, great God. That's the first part of my acknowledgement. And I have to make sure that people are clear that while I respect all beliefs, or your right to have a belief, I don't even know if I've matured to respect all beliefs. I honor that you might have a different belief than I. But my belief is sure. I know my Redeemer liveth. I know he is all powerful, and he is the ultimate source of gratefulness. I go on to write, I'm thankful for my family. Those who are now cheerleaders on the other side. As I mentioned, my parents, my 3 of my 4 siblings, dear friend Anthony Howard, now Leonard Forrest, Kevin Scott, and others. The list has grown. But I say most especially my parents, Herbert Clark and Princess Irene Holmes. I called them the odd couple. They were an odd couple, married for almost 60 years. And what I want to tell you is that their goal for their children were that we would be educated, that we would find meaningful work, that we would live godly lives, that we'd have good reputations, and that we would give service to others. Those are themes that they never sat me down and said, these are the themes. But those are the themes that they demonstrated and spoke to me often. I often remember hearing my dad say, because when I was younger, I didn't care as much about time as I do today. Now, there are people who work for me or around me saying, what? There was a time that you didn't care about time? Because I'm pretty particular about it. But when I was younger and I did concerts, I didn't care if our concert started on time or not. I said, we'll get there. And my dad would tell me, I'm not going to come to your concert, because if you ask God to meet you at 7, you should be there at 6:55 waiting for him. And if you don't respect God enough to be on time, then you don't want me to be there. He believed that on time was ahead of time. And if we were going to be late, which sometimes we would be if it was left up to my mom, my dad would have a fit. He wouldn't want to go. He demanded to be on time. I remember at one of my jobs, my dad, and I will tell you, he was an Army guy, and he believed in a pleat or a crease, and sometimes not, but he believed in ironing everything. He was that guy that, give it here. He liked things a certain way. And I remember I had one job where I was supposed to be there at 7:30 a.m. And my dad said, I don't know why you accepted that job. About a couple of months in, he says, how's it going? I said, well, it's going okay. He said, they talking to you about being on time? I said, yeah, they mentioned it. Be on time. Are they docking you? I said, no, I'm salaried. He said, why they fool around and do that with you? They figured out you smart and you probably don't need 8 hours to get the job done. But that's not the point. You have to build discipline for your life. I'm listening. What does he know? And he would just shake his head if I was leaving, because sometimes I might leave at 7:20. I didn't work very far away then. It's like, you still gonna be late. Because if you're not there at 7:25, even if you don't have to punch a time clock, you're late. Let your name be on time. My name is on time. You got the same last name as me? Yes, yes, I do. Then it's on time. He also believed if you can help somebody, help them. But know when people need help and when people are helping themselves to you. He didn't want you to be taken advantage of because he had the spirit of discernment on him. No, don't take advantage of me, but I'll help you. I'll feed you, I'll clothe you, I'll help you, but don't help yourself to me. Are you helping or are they helping themselves to you? Because looks like you doing all the giving. Looks like you doing all the helping. He was very, very, he would really scrutinize my friends and associates. I don't think you should trust that one. I don't think you should go somewhere where you're going to need to get under the hood with that one. He thought that we should be of service. My mother, the same. Her life was a life of service. And so these things I'm grateful for, because if I've had any measure of success in life, it's because of these things that they taught me. And I'm grateful to have handed them down to Autumn in particular and others in general. My siblings, which I talked about a little bit, Vanessa, who was the eldest, Keith, who is my only remaining living sibling, whose name is Herbert, Stephen, and Adrian. I can tell you that I was tremendously blessed when they dealt sisters and brothers. I didn't always know it, but I was tremendously blessed because they reinforced that discipline of my parents, but they also affirmed me and propelled me to levels by telling me, you can do it. You can do anything. You're smart. You're handsome. You're this. Always telling me that. Now, why is that important? Because we rarely affirm ourselves without seeing through our social sectors, through our eyes, our ears, our senses, what is affirmed in the world. We often mimic the affirmation that we see happening in the world. We often repeat what others say about us or what God says about us if we're wise, right? And so the affirmation really becomes a function of how much affirmation have you seen or experienced in the world around you. And my sisters and brothers, but sisters in particular, did a lot to affirm me as a person, did a lot to affirm me as a human, did a lot to affirm me as a singer, did a lot to affirm me as a person. And that affirmation, that inspiration, that encouragement, that if I passed it along, is because I was cultivated in that environment of that. I don't remember a time, you ain't gonna be nothing. You ain't about nothing. No. If I was doing something wrong, you know better than that. You're supposed to do this because you are gonna do this. I'm surprised you're doing that because you could be doing this. You can't hang with that group because they do that and we don't do that. We do this. We are this. They were affirming my being before I had even really had an idea about the being, right? And what a gift it is to be born in that kind of family. Now, there's some pressure with that because, quite admittedly, all of them were smart. And when I had to go behind them in anything, I was always Adrian's little brother, Stefan's little brother, Keith's little brother, Vanessa's little brother. Are you smart like them? Are you good in math? Can you run track? Are you athletic? Do you love to read? All of the things. Can you sing? All of the things that they did, I had to follow behind them in their footsteps. So it really wasn't, oh, I ain't gonna do nothing. But my dad would say, is there anybody here that's not going to school? Did you see any of your brothers and sisters not going to school? What do you think you're gonna do? I didn't really want to go to college. I've been told I'm pretty smart, but that wasn't on my radar. I just wanted to sing. I didn't know that I would, I didn't care. It wasn't a big deal to me. But I knew I had to go because everybody in front of me did. They set this path, they set this expectation, and they crushed it. They met the bar and went above it. And I knew that I had to rise to that occasion. That can be tough, but it toughened me up to get my steps, my leaps, so that I could achieve everything that I should. And my mother said, I had no doubt that you would do that because this is what we expected. Oh, this is what we expected. One time that hurt my feelings because I thought, aren't you supposed to be hooray? She said, I'm happy for you, but it's what I expected. And this isn't where it ends, Marcus Ray, which is my middle name. I'm grateful for them. Every one of them, I have mentioned in the book and shared something about them in the book. And I think more to come about my siblings. My sweetest, sweetie girl in the whole wide world, Autumn Nicole. Looks like something's happening with the signal on one of these channels. I'm so sorry. Not so sure what's happening on one of these. Okay, very good. Autumn Nicole, as you may know, is my sister Adrian's daughter, who passed away in 2008. And Autumn was just 9 years old, getting ready to turn 10. And we've always had this special relationship. From when she was a baby, I babysat her once when I was in between jobs. And I would put her on my chest and just sing to her. And she would say, poo, poo. I can tell you that my life space has been so enriched by the opportunity to share with her dad in helping to rear her. She is an amazing young lady. I was talking to her earlier, and she is completing her last year in law school and is excited at her internship. And I am just grateful to be here to experience it. It's been a tough journey, especially for her, but I am so proud of how she has navigated it, and more importantly, how God has helped us to navigate circumstances that could have gone a lot of different ways. And when I think about gratefulness, my heart wells up when I think about my sweetest, sweetie girl in the whole wide world, who will soon turn 27 years old. My niece Tamara, my nephew Felix. I have several other nieces, Tanisha, Felicia, Delisa, Alicia. Elena, Amara, and Justin. And the apple of Uncle's eye, Felix, who you get to see on Saturdays with Kamal and Felix. Okay, I'm having something going on one of the channels. It doesn't look like it's doing well on one of my channels. Okay, something happened. Who are all in ways some active ingredients that made the recipe of this book rise and add flavor to it. Not so sure what happened, but I lost one channel. Okay. It goes on, and this is where I'm going to drop you off today. Friends. My next gratefulness edition is going to be about my friends. You're going to hear about Kimberly Hall Wagner, Rochelle Weathers, Sandra Moraney. You're going to hear about Andre and Tracy Green, Roger Williams, Alicia Bradford, Eric and Darcia Sanders. You're going to hear about Jawan Ingram and Bruce Covington, and Anthony Howard, who is also in this book. All who in some way walked with me through the caregiving journey with my princess. And it says this book is especially dedicated to Princess Irene Holmes. May the lessons that you taught me teach people everywhere about the power of gratefulness. All right. All right. Somehow the Love and Stuff channel ended. And so that means I think I'm still on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Sorry, Love and Stuff page. I don't know what happened. I'll have to upload the replay. I'm going to read just a small part of small part. Are you ready for the ride? I began writing this book with great trepidation. After all, it would be my first published work. I have begun, but not finished, 2 others before this. And I wasn't so sure I should be the one to speak about gratefulness. I have been angry, felt cheated, been challenged, had my hopes dashed, struggled with the pangs of loneliness, and even been disappointed with God's choices. I wanted many times to be angry with God, but my reverence for him brought me to the conclusion that this is his world, his will. Sometimes, oftentimes, I have worn those feelings like a clearance rack item. You know, the item you bought on sale that you were proud not to have spent all your money on. Well, my anger and disappointment were sometimes displayed as badges of entitlement. I felt entitled to have an uneasy temperament because I had endured so much. I felt entitled to be angry because I was cheated out of a promotion. I felt entitled to lower my expectations of others because, after all, people would only achieve so much. I justified feelings of entitlement. It just seemed right that if I had to endure harrowing experiences, that I should insulate myself. I used those feelings of entitlement to build a fence around my heart. The fence required a badge for most people to gain access. Although I was determined not to be a victim, I also refused to allow anybody close enough to walk with me. My fence of entitlement required social distancing long before it was popularized by the novel coronavirus pandemic. I also learned during parts of my tough journey that I have a voice. I can choose to raise it in reflection as a badge of entitlement, or in a way that merges both and adds the great lessons of gratefulness. We don't often get to choose what we experience, but we do have some say in the how of our experience. For me, gratefulness is about the how of the experience. If this pandemic has taught us anything, it has certainly taught us that you will have a range of experiences. So I wanted to share that from that excerpt from the book. It is Prime Days. The Gratefulness Journey is available now. I hope you will consider getting your copy of The Gratefulness Journey. If you have experienced loss of any kind, grief of any kind, if you're experiencing heartache of any kind, I invite you to consider getting your copy of The Gratefulness Journey every day. What are you doing in the next 30 days to transform your life? Well, if you don't have an agenda or calendar appointment, mark today as the first day that you walk toward transformative power as it manifests and comes to fruition in your life. Gratefulness is powerful. And I invite you to tap in. You'll be surprised as gratefulness, this practice of gratefulness, will permeate every area of your life if you allow it. I'm Marcus Holmes, and I'm grateful that you joined me tonight. You'll hear more over these next few days, especially about the Gratefulness Journey every day, because we are in Prime Days. And you can order this paperback book and you will have it if you have Prime the next day. And if you don't, in a few days. Of course, if you are a digital reader, you can get the ebook. It is also available. And both of them have the opportunity for you to get a free Gratefulness Journey journal that you can journal along your journey and just to see, look back, reflect of how transformative the power of gratefulness is in your life. Thank you for joining me. Come back and see us next week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be back from the inbox talking about all things relationship, from the quintessential love all the way to our community and every person in between. I hope that you will also check out the funniest, hippest sports show around. Kamau and Felix Sports Talk happens. Sports Talk with Kamau and Felix happens each Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Central Time. And listen, ladies especially, if you're not into sports, here's what I want to tell you, because you see a lot of relationship content around the Love and Stuff community. But if you get into sports, you'll be surprised at how you will be able to have conversations, dialogue, and interactions with the brothers that do. Kamau and Felix always have something in their segments that are educating those that might not be big sports fans or sports buffs, in the hopes that it will help you to have conversations and build connections with those that you want to be close to. So ladies, if you're tired of being in the other room while he's watching the game, tune in at 11 a.m. and you will find a wealth of information, and you'll find that you'll be welcomed on that couch or chair. All right, it's been a grateful evening, and I want to thank each of you for joining. If any of this information resonates with you, feel free to go to the top of the page of the platform that you're on, connect with me there, follow me, click the notification bell, connect with me as a connection. I'd love to stay in contact with you and share more with you about the Gratefulness Journey every day and how you can use it to transform your own life. Thank you again for being here, and I appreciate you all. Again, the book is available if you so choose.
Yeah. 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 Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Born and dead, saved by love, count my blessings from above. Though in darkness, have no fear. Light will shine on those holding near. They know that sorrow they will pass. For I know in this life there will be something. But remember that love, yes it will. Love will reign. Yeah. Love will reign. Yeah. In my heart, I believe it. Love will reign. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Have a vision. It's clear and plain. People living life, smiling again. Oh, see the children. They know no pain. Far from pressure, stress and strain.